If you're diving into BlazBlue Entropy Effect, you already know this game isn't messing around. It's one of the most fast-paced, action-packed combat roguelikes out there, and the roster of prototypes keeps things fresh every run. But now, things just got even crazier. The Prisoner from Dead Cells just dropped as a free DLC, and honestly, it adds a whole new layer of chaos and fun. We're talking about unique abilities, insane combos, and a ton of new strategies to mess around with. So, in today's video, we're breaking down every prototype released so far and ranking them in our tier list. Which ones are absolute monsters? Which ones are fun but a little underwhelming? Stick around because we're going to go through them all, chat about their strengths and weaknesses, and maybe even share some tips to help you dominate your next run. Let's jump in and see who really rules the battlefield in BlazBlue Entropy Effect. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking prototypes in BlazBlue Entropy Effect. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The prototypes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, ICEY, Hazama, and Hibiki Kohaku. Let's be real for a second. Sometimes being in the C tier feels like showing up to a party and realizing you're the guy who brought a bag of chips when everyone else brought the fireworks. But hey, even here, there are some hidden gems worth talking about. So buckle up, because we're diving into the quirkiest, most okay, I guess, prototypes in BlazBlue Entropy Effect. First up, we have Icy. Now, Icy is like that friend who refuses to walk anywhere. They just dash everywhere all at once. Her infinite dash in any direction gives her some of the best mobility in the game, which is fantastic if you love running circles around your enemies. The catch, her kit is mostly about single target damage, so in the middle of a chaotic team fight, Icy kind of feels like that one person at karaoke trying to sing solo while everyone else is performing a full-on group number. She's nimble, sure, but not exactly the team player you'd hope for. Then there's Hazama, who's basically the Swiss Army knife of this tier. He has insane versatility thanks to his range-switching damage amplification mechanics, which is a fancy way of saying he can do a little bit of everything if you know what you're doing. The downside, he doesn't hit as hard as the higher tier prototypes, and his crowd control is kind of meh. Playing Hazama well demands mechanical skill and timing. Think juggling flaming swords while hopping on a unicycle. It's fun when you pull it off, but it's risky, my friend. Hibiki Kohaku deserves a mention too, and honestly, she's a tough cookie. Her backstab attacks can hit like a truck if you land them perfectly, but she's missing some crucial defensive and offensive tools for team fights. You really need to pay attention to both your position and your targets, which makes her feel a bit like trying to sneak a cookie from the jar while your mum is watching. Fun if it works, frustrating if it doesn't. C-tier prototypes like Icy, Hazama, and Hibiki Kohaku might not dominate the leaderboards, but they bring personality and moments of brilliance to the table. You just have to be willing to dance around their limitations, and maybe accept that you won't always win the spotlight in team fights. At the end of the day, being in C-tier isn't a death sentence, it's more like having a quirky underdog story. Sure, you might get roasted by the A and S tier heavy hitters, but you also get to enjoy some insane mobility, tricky mechanics, and, if you're patient, backstab satisfaction. Sometimes, the struggle makes the victory even sweeter. So, if you're picking C-tier prototypes, just remember, it's all about embracing the challenge, laughing at the chaos, and finding those small moments where Icy, Hazama, or Hibiki Kohaku shine. They're not the stars of the show, but they're definitely the characters you'll remember, and maybe even love, in their own weird, complicated ways. The prototypes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Taokaka, Kokonoe, Noel Vermilion, and Lambda 11. Ever feel like you're that player who's good, but not quite legendary? Welcome to B tier in BlazBlue Entropy Effect, where the prototypes are solid, fun to play, and capable of carrying their weight, but still have their quirks that keep them from the top. Let's talk about these mid-tier maestros, shall we? First up is Taokaka, who's basically the human embodiment of blink and you'll miss me. Her mobility is insane, with one of the best dashes in the game, and iframes that make her nigh untouchable when used correctly. Add her unpredictable attack patterns, including summoning 1 to 2 shadow clones, and you've got yourself a crowd control nightmare for your enemies. But here's the thing, most of her damage relies on heavy strikes, and those clones, which means managing her SP against bosses, can feel like trying to juggle flaming swords, blindfolded. Fun, but tricky. Next is Kokonu, the queen of chaos and explosive gadgetry. Missiles, electricity strikes, rays, lasers. She's basically a walking fireworks show that cleans up crowds effortlessly. But if you were dreaming about long drawn-out fights with a single big boss, her kill streak mechanic just doesn't hold up. It's like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. Impressive, but not always practical. Then we have Null Vermilion, the dual gun darling of mid-range combat. Her guns give her excellent reach and positioning options, making her feel like a tactical sniper on the battlefield. The downside, she's painfully fragile up close with almost zero defensive tools. Let an enemy sneak past her bullets and suddenly Null's the one in trouble. It's a classic case of beautiful but dangerous if you get too close. Lambda 11 deserves a spotlight too. Her portal attacks give her zoning power and she can break super armor, which adds some serious utility for controlling the pace of fights. The catch is her low mobility. If you don't set her up carefully, fast-paced combat can turn her into a sitting duck. Timing is everything, and one misstep can ruin her rhythm completely. What's great about B-tier prototypes is that they're all about skill and strategy. Unlike the C-tier underdogs, these characters can shine in the right hands. You just have to respect their limits and play smart, instead of charging in blindly. Mobility, zoning, gadgets, and range. Each of these characters brings a unique tool to the table. Taokaka dances around enemies, Kokonu rains destruction from above, Null Vermilion keeps you at a safe distance, and Lambda 11 manipulates the battlefield like a puzzle master. The gameplay is satisfying because it rewards careful planning and timing. Sure, B tier isn't the glamorous S tier where every attack feels like a cinematic explosion, but it's way more forgiving than C tier. You can experiment, pull off creative combos, and really feel like you're mastering a character instead of just hoping for chaos to work in your favor. At the end of the day, picking a B tier prototype is like choosing the dependable friend in a game of chaos. They might not steal the spotlight every time, but they get the job done, keep things interesting, and let you have a ton of fun while flexing your skills. If you learn their quirks, these prototypes can feel downright unstoppable, and that, my friend, is a joy no tier list can take away. The prototypes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Hakumen, Mai Natsumi, Bullet, and Az. This it's Az. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everyone notices you immediately? That's a tier in BlazBlue Entropy Effect. These prototypes don't just show up, they make an entrance. Let's break down why these fighters command attention without being completely over the top. First, we have Hakumen, the heavyweight tactician. His super armor charge attacks and grab-based moves make him a nightmare for crowds, and thanks to his blocking and countering skills, Hakumen players have some wiggle room even when diving headfirst into a fight. The only drawback? His movement speed is noticeably slower than other high-tier prototypes, so if you're expecting to zip across the battlefield like a maniac, Hakumen might make you feel a little leisurely. Next up is Mai Natsume, the spear-wielding dynamo. Her attacks are wonderfully versatile. Jabs, lunges, and even tornado-style crowd control. And her javelin throw isn't just flashy, it lets her recover M based on the number of enemies pierced and boosts her damage after skill use. The catch? Her movement feels a touch clunky compared to the undisputed top-tier speed demons. Think of her as the elegant dancer who occasionally might trips over her own feet. But hey, she still lands the finishing move. Then there's Bullet, who brings explosive chaos to every fight. Her grab attacks pack massive area of effect explosions, making her a walking fireworks display. Each successful grab boosts her overall damage, turning her into a progressively scarier threat as the battle goes on. But here's the kicker, her dependency on throws makes her a bit tricky to use against bosses that can't be grabbed or with prototypes lacking grabbing potential. Timing and strategy are everything with her. Ys rounds out the A-tier list with her unpredictable, lightning-fast offense. The crests she leaves behind provide both defensive cover and offensive opportunities, letting her control the battlefield in multiple ways. Her screen-zipping attacks keep opponents guessing, and when executed well, she dishes out massive damage while staying mobile. The challenge? You'll need a steady hand and precise timing to balance offense and defense effectively. What makes a tier so satisfying is that these characters reward mastery. Unlike the lower tiers, where mistakes can be punishing, a tier prototypes feel powerful when you play them well, but they still demand respect for their mechanics and quirks. mobility, crowd control, explosive attacks, and tactical prowess. A tier gives you a mix of everything that makes combat in BlazBlue Entropy Effect exciting. Each of these prototypes has a signature playstyle that can really shine if you dedicate time to mastering it. Sure, they're not S-tier monsters that crush everything in sight, but they strike a perfect balance between fun, skill, and power. A tier feels like the sweet spot, impressive without being ridiculous, rewarding without being unfair. So if you're aiming to climb the ranks with a B to A tier approach, these prototypes will make your journey thrilling. Hakumen's control, Mai Natsume's versatility, Bullet's explosions, and S's unpredictable chaos, they all have moments that make you go, yes, this is why I play this game. The prototypes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Rachel Alucard, Ragnar the Blood Edge, Jin Kisarashi, and the Prisoner. Alright, buckle up, because S tier in BlazBlue Entropy Effect is where the game stops joking around. These prototypes don't just play the game, they redefine it. If you see one on your team, you better pick them ASAP, because they're the kind of characters that can turn a fight on its head in seconds. First up is Rachel Alucard, the ultimate distance manager. With her familiars and area of effect attacks powered by lightning strikes, she can handle waves of enemies without even breaking a sweat. She's not just about offense either. She can drain enemy health, deflect projectiles, and even negate some attacks, making her as defensively sound as she is offensively deadly. Basically, she's the wizard you want controlling the battlefield from the back lines. Then we've got Ragnar the Blood Edge, the self-sustaining chaos machine. His area of effect skills come with super armor, letting him slice and dice through enemy teams like a walking hurricane. And with moves like Demon Wave, he can heal as he fights, meaning the more chaos he creates, the more unstoppable he becomes. The catch? High risk, high reward. Ragnar isn't forgiving if you mess up. You'll need skill to truly dominate with him. Next is Jin Kisaragi, the chill yet deadly Frostmaster. His sheathing mechanic makes him stronger as the fight progresses, and his ability to freeze and slow enemies makes him approachable even for beginners. But don't get too comfortable. Truly mastering the timing of his sheathing moves takes dedication. Once you get it down though, he's a nightmare to deal with, slowing and controlling fights like a pro. Finally, we have the Prisoner, arguably the king of versatility. This guy is combo heavy and can switch between 3 entire loadouts on the fly, making him adaptable to literally any situation. His critical hit mechanics, unique, enhanced, and devastating, allow him to melt enemies in seconds. The downside, much of his kit is locked behind the enhancer's starting weapons potential, and to get the most out of him, you'll need some of the various weapon enhancements later in your run. High skill ceiling, high payoff. S-tier prototypes aren't just strong, they're game changers. They demand respect, strategy, and a little bit of flair. Picking one is like bringing a flamethrower to a snowball fight. Suddenly, everything else looks underpowered. What makes them even better is their balance of offense and defense. Rachel can control the field from afar, Ragnar thrives in the thick of battle, Jin manipulates enemy movement, and the Prisoner adapts to everything. Each one brings a unique flavor of dominance that feels rewarding when mastered. Sure, they're harder to perfect than B or A tier, but the payoff is insane. Playing S tier means every combo, every attack, and every movement counts, and when executed right, it looks and feels like absolute art. So if you're planning your next pick, don't overthink it. S tier prototypes are the instant power-up your team needs. They're flashy, fun, and insanely effective. Pick them, master them, and watch the battlefield bend to your will. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.